Day and night and day, the living creatures give their praise. To him who lives eternally, they never cease from saying, Holy, holy is Yahweh Almighty, worthy, worthy to receive all glory.
Shalom, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. We hope that you are having a blessed week. We're so excited. It is time again to read the Torah portion. We're just welcoming all here or that are watching later on. I'm James.
And I'm Leigh.
And we are Between the River and the Ravens. And we just love being able to do this every Tuesday, sharing the Word made flesh. And what a beautiful story it tells. And these have been some really exciting portions. And this one is definitely going to be the same. We're really looking forward to it. A lot's going on. And
lot's going on. Shalom, Aisha. Glad you're here with us.
Shalom. It should be a fun Let's Talk Torah on Friday. So we hope that you can join us then as well as we break it down a little bit more and discuss some great fun insights from this portion.
Absolutely. Shalom, Lolo. Also, and anyone else coming in or that's watching without in the chat. I think you were going to do something special, weren't you?
Yeah, we'll see as we get along. There is a certain song in this portion, so we'll give it a shot. This week is week 16 of the Torah portion. It is just flying along. Really been exciting, and we are enjoying it each and every week. Beshalach, I believe, is how you pronounce this week, and it is covering Exodus 13, starting in verse 17, all the way through chapter 17. So we're just grateful for this opportunity, being able to speak these words over the air, trying to reach the four corners, and we just pray that the words do bless you in your week.
Amen. Shalom, Amanda. And we will be reading from...
Yeah, we're reading from the Scriptures 2009 translation, and we will go ahead and get that shared up on the screen so everyone can follow along. Starting in chapter 13, verse 17. And it came to be, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Elohim did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, though that was nearer. For Elohim said, lest the people regret when they see fighting and return to Mitzrayim. So Elohim led the people around by way of the wilderness of the Sea of Reeds, and the children of Yasharel went up in fives from the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he certainly made the children of Israel swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring my bones from here with you. And they departed from Sukkot and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And Yahweh went before them by day in a column of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a column of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. The column of cloud did not cease by day, nor the column of fire by night before the people.
Chapter 14. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, that they turn and camp before Pi Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal Zephon, camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh shall say of the children of Yisrael, they are entangled in the land, the wilderness has closed them in, and I shall strengthen the heart of Pharaoh, and he shall pursue them. But I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over all his army, and the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. And it was reported to the sovereign of Mitzrayim that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, "Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us?" So he made his chariot ready and took his people with him. And he took 600 choice chariots and all the chariots of Mitzrayim with officers over all of them. And Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and he pursued the children of Israel. But the children of Israel went out defiantly, and the Mitzrites pursued them, and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them camping by the sea beside Pi Haroth, before Baal Zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes and saw the Mitzrites coming up after them, and they were greatly afraid. So the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh, and they said to Moshe, "Did you take us away to die in the wilderness, because there are no burial sites in Mitzrayim? What is this you have done to us to bring us up out of Mitzrayim? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Mitzrayim, saying, 'Leave us alone and let us serve the Mitzrites'? For it would have been better for us to serve the Mitzrites than to die in the wilderness." And Moshe said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the deliverance of Yahweh, which he does for you today. For the Mitzrites whom you see today, you are never, never to see again. Yahweh does fight for you, and you keep silent." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Why do you cry to me? Speak to the children of Israel and let them go forward. And you lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and let the children of Israel go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I see, I am strengthening the hearts of the Mitzrites, and they shall follow them. And I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots, and his horsemen. And the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yahweh, when I am esteemed through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." And the messenger of Elohim, who went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them. And the column of cloud went from before them and stood behind them, and camped between the camp of the Mitzrites and the camp of Israel. And it was the cloud and the darkness, and it gave light by night, and the one did not come near the other all night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Mitzrites pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to be in the morning watch that Yahweh looked down upon the army of the Mitzrites through the column of fire and cloud, and he brought the army of the Mitzrites into confusion, and he took off their chariot wheels so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Mitzrites said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yahweh fights for them against the Mitzrites." Then Yahweh said to Moshe, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, and let the waters come back upon the Mitzrites, on their chariots, and on their horsemen." And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its usual flow at the break of day, with the Mitzrites fleeing into it. Thus Yahweh overthrew the Mitzrites in the midst of the sea, and the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them, and not even one was left of them. And the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. Thus Yahweh saved Yisrael that day out of the hand of the Mitzrites, and Yisrael saw the Mitzrites dead on the seashore. And Yisrael saw the great work which Yahweh had done in Mitzrayim. And the people feared Yahweh and believed Yahweh and his servant Moshe.
Chapter 15. Then Moshe and the children of Yisrael sang this song to Yahweh, and spoke, saying, I sing to Yahweh, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Yahweh is a man of battle. Yahweh is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and his chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them. They went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahweh, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahweh, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose up against you. You sent forth your wrath. It consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The flood stood like a wall. The depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil. My being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword. My hand destroys them. You did blow with your wind. The sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahweh? Among the mighty ones, who is like you? Great in set apartness, awesome in praises, working wonders. You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. In your loving commitment, you led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength, you guided them to your set apart dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled. Anguish gripped the inhabitants of Philistia. And the chiefs of Edom were troubled. The mighty men of Moab, trembling grips them. All the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell upon them. By the greatness of your arm, they are as silent as a stone, until your people pass over, O Yahweh, until the people whom you have bought pass over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahweh, which you have made for your own dwelling, the set apart place, O Yahweh, which your hands have prepared. Yahweh reigns forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and his horsemen into the sea, and Yahweh brought back the waters of the sea upon them, and the children of Yisrael went on dry ground in the midst of the sea. And Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, Sing to Yahweh, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. And Moshe brought Yisrael from the sea of reeds, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And they came to Marah, and they were unable to drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. So the name of it was called Marah. And the people grumbled against Moshe, saying, "What are we to drink?" Then they cried out to Yahweh, and Yahweh showed him a tree, and when he threw it into the waters were made sweet. There he made a law and a right ruling for them, and there he tried them. And he said, "If you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh, your Elohim, and do what is right in his eyes, and shall listen to his commands, and shall guard all his laws, I shall bring on you none of the diseases I brought on the Mitzrites, for I am Yahweh who heals you." And they came to Elim, where there were 12 fountains of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there by the waters.
Chapter 16. And they set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second new moon, after their going out of the land of Mitzrayim. And all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and Aharon in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, "If only we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Mitzrayim, when we sat by the pots of meat and when we ate bread to satisfaction. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to put all this assembly to death with hunger." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "See, I am raining bread from the heavens for you. And the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day in order to try them, whether they walk in my Torah or not. And it shall be on the 6th day that they shall prepare what they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily." And Moshe and Aharon said to all the children of Israel, "At evening you shall know that Yahweh has brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And in the morning you shall see the esteem of Yahweh, for he hears your grumblings against Yahweh. And what are we that you grumble against us?" And Moshe said, "In that Yahweh gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to satisfaction. For Yahweh hears your grumblings, which you make against him. And what are we? Your grumblings are not against us, but against Yahweh." And Moshe said to Aharon, "Say to all the congregation of the children of Yisrael, come near before Yahweh, for he has heard your grumblings." And it came to be, as Aharon spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and see, the esteem of Yahweh appeared in the cloud. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "I have heard the grumblings of the children of Israel. Speak to them, saying, between the evenings you are to eat meat, and in the morning you are to be satisfied with the bread, and you shall know that I am Yahweh, your Elohim." And it came to be that quails came up at evening and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay all around the camp. And the layer of dew went up, and see, on the surface of the wilderness was a small, round substance, as fine as frost on the ground. And the children of Israel saw, and they said to each other, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. And Moshe said to them, "It is the bread which Yahweh has given you to eat. This is the word of Yahweh has commanded. Let every man gather it according to each one's needs, an omer for each being, according to the number of beings. Let every man take for those who are in his tent." And the children of Israel did so, and gathered, some more, some less. And they measured it by omers. And he who gathered much did not have too much, and he who gathered little did not have too little. Each one gathered according to his need. And Moshe said, "Let no one leave any of it until morning." And they did not listen to Moshe. So some of them left part of it until the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moshe was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, each one according to his need. And when the sun became hot, it melted. And it came to be on the 6th day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. And he said to them, "This is what Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is a rest, a Sabbath set apart to Yahweh. That which you bake, bake, and that which you cook, cook, and lay up for yourselves all that is left over to keep it until morning." And they laid it up till morning, as Moshe commanded. And it did not stink, and no worm was in it. And Moshe said, "Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to Yahweh. Today you do not find it in the field. Gather it 6 days, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, there is none." And it came to be that some of the people went out on the 7th day to gather, but they found none. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "How long shall you refuse to guard my commands and my Torah? See, because Yahweh has given you the Sabbath, therefore he is giving you bread for 2 days on the 6th day. Let each one stay in his place. Do not let anyone go out of his place on the 7th day." So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Israel called its name manna, and it was like white coriander seed, and the taste of it was like thin cakes made with honey. And Moshe said, "This is the word which Yahweh has commanded. Fill an omer with it to keep for your generations, so that they see the bread which I fed you in the wilderness, and I brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim." And Moshe said to Aharon, "Take a pot and put an omer of manna in it, and set it down before Yahweh to keep for your generations." As Yahweh commanded Moshe, so did Aaron set it down before the witness to keep. And the children of Israel ate manna 40 years until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. And an omer is 1/10 of an ephah.
Chapter 17. And all the congregation of the children of Israel set out on their journey from the wilderness of Sin, according to the mouth of Yahweh, and camped in Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people strove with Moshe and said, "Give us water to drink." And Moshe said to them, "Why do you strive with me? Why do you try Yahweh?" And the people thirsted there for water. And the people grumbled against Moshe and said, "Why did you bring us out of Mitzrayim to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" Then Moshe cried out to Yahweh, saying, "What am I to do with this people? Yet a little, and they shall stone me." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Pass over before the people, and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand your rod, with which you struck the river, and go. See, I am standing before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people shall drink." And Moshe did so before the eyes of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massa and Marab, because of the strife of the children of Israel, and because they tried Yahweh, saying, "Is Yahweh in our midst or not?" And Amalek came and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moshe said unto Yehusha, or Joshua, "Choose for us men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I am stationing myself on the top of the hill with the rod of Elohim in my hand." And Joshua did as Moshe said to him, to fight with Amalek. And Moshe, Aharon, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to be, when Moshe held up his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moshe's hands were heavy, So they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aharon and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Write this for a remembrance in the book, and recite it in the hearing of Joshua, that I shall completely blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens." And Moshe built a slaughter place and called its name Yahweh Nissi. For he said, because a hand is on the throne of Yahweh is to fight against Amalek from generation to generation. All right, that does it for this week's Torah portion. I attempted the Song of Moshe, but
you did very well.
I would highly suggest going to check out the original. I know Alan Harvath did a song, and it's wonderful. And so I tried to bring the inspiration from him.
You did
Hope
very
you enjoyed.
well.
Shalom, Dr. Carrie Brown. I'm glad you joined, and anyone else. What a wonderful portion. I'm already excited for Friday.
Oh, I can't wait.
I hope you tune in and join us then to fellowship with us. We got a lot to break down. So we hope that that is a blessing for you. We did want to leave you with the Aaronic priestly blessing, and we will say goodbye after that. And this comes from Numbers 6, 24 through 27. Yahweh bless you and guard you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Yasharel, and I will bless them. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Have a wonderful evening.
Day and night and day, the living creatures give their praise to him who lives eternally. They never cease from saying, holy, holy is Yahweh.